One. All right. Welcome to another edition of the Goon Squad. I'm your host, Bobby Melendez, joined by my brother Harrison, my best friend Alex. Neil is here. He is pulling in to his in-laws' house, and then he will join us live. And Mr. Juan will come on in a few minutes. But first off, let's start off. Harrison, Goons County. How you doing, brother?
All good, all good. Sorry I missed last show. I'm back now. I'm better too.
Irresponsible, slept through it.
Alex, at the Cape.
What's up, man?
How you doing, man?
At the Cape.
I'm good, bro. I'm not in Orlando anymore. I'm not wet. I'm not moist. I'm nice and comfortable, just sitting down, getting ready.
I think Harrison got excited a little bit when you said wet and moist.
You saw his face? Yeah.
I did.
He flexed a little
eyebrows
bit.
Got high.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Neck got stronger. Oh, Goons, baby. Goon Squad.
Goon Squad. Make sure when Juan comes in, I can get him in here. But as guys, again, you're watching the Goon Squad. This is the Miami Heat podcast on the Fins Talk Network. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at the Fins Talk Network. And, let's get ready for some great Miami Heat content. So let's start off with what's going on with Miami right now, and that's just waiting on what happens with Kevin Durant. Of course, today was the official start of business for the NBA, so Victor Oladipo officially re-signed with the Heat on a 2-year deal. Really, it's a 1-year deal with a player option. He can be traded by the deadline. I think that was big news for Heat fans because it was kind of said that he can't be traded, but now, yes, he can. But I think we all expect bigger things from him this season with the Heat. But that's cool. Caleb Martin was a surprise signing. They used, I think, the mid-level exception. Signed him to a 3-year deal worth $20 million. So right now he kind of pegs into that starting 4 position for next year unless they do something. And of course we got Dedmon is back officially. And another news with Bradley Beal that was kind of surprising is that with his max contract, he has that no trade clause. So that's pretty big. Whenever that day comes, if that day ever comes, he demands a trade. He gets to decide basically where he goes. So, Alex, first off, your mindset right now as we're waiting on this Kevin Durant and Neil's here. Neil,
I'm here.
How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Been a day. I'm ready to talk some.
Looks like it's been a day.
I'm ready to talk some Heat. It's time, baby.
Let's do it. All right, so we're talking Durant. This is basically, everybody else is making moves. They're making trades. They're doing this. The Heat are basically re-signing their guys. They let PJ Tucker walk. Tucker is gone. But Caleb Martin is back, which I think is great. Victor Oladipo's back, which is great. We expect a big thing from him next year. Dedmon, who I like, he's back. So the Heat have some, core rotational pieces back. But it looks like they're on a standstill right now, waiting to see what happens with Kevin Durant. So let's talk about what Shams was talking about. He was on the Pat McAfee show. He's on the Athletic. What he said about Durant's situation. Of course, that's kind of changed now. With Roach, he said something different on ESPN, but let's go with what Shams was saying. He says, quote, the Nets, they picked up TJ Warren today. They're making moves and they're doing things this offseason with, in their mind, the preparation and operation as if they are bringing these two guys, that's Kyrie and Kevin Durant, back next year and playing with these two guys. Now, I think they are open in dialogue and they're open to teams like Toronto, Phoenix, Miami making offers. But until they get the price threshold met, which I'm told is all-star type players, a buttload of draft picks, they're not going to move these guys. So it sounds like really that's trying to drive the price up. That doesn't really sound – because do the Nets really want to hold on to these two guys when they don't want to be there? To me, this sounds like they're just trying to drive price up. They're putting this out there that they're comfortable going into next year with these two guys and the players that they're acquiring. I think it's smart that they got TJ Warren and that I forgot this other guy, right? Because, Alex, we discussed this. If they decide to trade Durant, let's say, to a Miami for a Tyler Hero and a Duncan Robinson, they still have a very good roster in the East. Maybe be 6, 7, play-in type team. But if they keep Durant and Irving, they got a good roster, obviously, with those two guys. So, Alex, start with you, Harris, and then Neil. Alex, do you think this is just smoke? Do you think they're trying to drive up the price? Or do you think they're serious about, hey, until we get our deal, whether it's Miami with Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero, as the reports are, do you think they're really just saying we're going to stick this out? Or do you think that, no, this is just them driving the price up?
I think honestly it's a little bit of both at this point, because what other thing can you say? You have to say that you're okay with coming back with a team you have, because if not, you completely plummet all your asset there. If teams know that you're desperate to trade, which they're not desperate because they're in full control, really. They're working with Kevin Durant. If obviously he requested the trade, they're working with him, but they're in full control in this aspect of you're signed for 4 years. You can create a mess if you want and all that, but at the end of the day, all that's going to cost you is kind of like Simmons. You're going to probably get suspended. You're going to get fined over and over and over. But that's why it benefits the Nets and Kevin Durant. At the end of the day, we've talked about it, and I think I'm really doubting. The only thing that can confirm for me, like I told you yesterday, Bob, that there's actually something going on behind the scenes is, first of all, the whole NBA is at a standstill, and the Heat haven't moved on. The Heat haven't made consequent additions. They're still waiting, and they're still obviously waiting out on Durant, possibly a fallback Donovan Mitchell, then possibly fallback Kyrie Irving. Irving's market, for example, is only the Lakers right now, really. So there's no leverage there. Like, there's no one outbidding the Lakers for Kyrie Irving. So the Nets, that asset at that point, you can't just trade it to trade it. Eventually down the line, you probably will. But with Kevin Durant, unless the Nets are preparing to start the season with Kevin Durant. We know the situation that happened with James Harden. I don't think it's going to go down that route, though. With James Harden's situation in Houston, when he forced a trade to Brooklyn, it just creates a mess of your franchise. And I'm a big fan. If I'm the GM, I want to start. Obviously, I want to get the most value back, as much as I can possibly can. But at the end of the day, before I do anything, I'm going to present. I have the trade offers. As a GM, I can call Kevin and be like, look, Kevin, we haven't talked in a few months, but come over. These are the trade proposals that I got. You can pick where you want to go. I can maybe work with you. I'm going to get the best assets back. You still have the possibility to come back. People forget, and now it's surfacing. Kobe requested a trade. His trade was almost complete to Chicago. His wife was the one that pulled back and didn't want to move to Chicago, but Kobe was going to Chicago. After that, what did the Lakers do? They turned around, acquired Paul Gasol. They go on to win back-to-back championships. They acquired also Lamar Odom. So this isn't a situation that can be reversed later on in the proceedings. Is there a trade request officially? Absolutely. Do I really think it's going to go through? My personal opinion, I don't think Kevin Durant gets traded because it's just so much back and forth. They're never going to get true value for him unless he makes it real messy. Right now, all he did was request a trade. He hasn't said anything publicly. He might get on Twitter, get entangled a little bit with some fans, have some back and forths, some petty shit. But there's really nothing deep there. You're still in mid negotiations. We're probably the beginning of all negotiations. You're trying to sort all your offers out. The longer you wait, it could benefit you, but it could also be something that affects you in the long run. Because the longer you wait, the more proposals you're going to get. And at this point, the whole league has already called the Nets. Sean Marks has possibly decent offers from every single team that is interested in acquiring Durant. Possibly gets to the next level. Then you narrow down the teams, and then you start getting the final offers of teams, what it would take to acquire Durant. And right now, teams are not giving their 1A player. Like Phoenix, they're not going to give up Devin Booker. Right now, Toronto's not giving up Scotty Barnes. They might do it. They might move the needle. Another team, they even mentioned the Pelicans. They're not going to give up Ingram. So you're talking about you're never going to get, when a player demands a trade, you're never going to get the best player from the other team. It's impossible. It doesn't happen. You might get a disgruntled star. Like you could say, for example, with the Nets last year, they traded James Harden. They're not going to trade Kevin Durant. So it's a fluid situation. I don't see it ending anytime soon. This is going to drag on possibly another month. So people just sit on down, buckle up, and get ready for the rumors, get ready for the offers, and don't be surprised if Durant just stays, and Kyrie as well.
Harrison, what are you thinking, man?
That was tough to stay up through.
Already.
I think the Nets are getting
Let's see this
greedy,
opinion.
right? I
Let's
think
see
the Nets
this.
are getting a bit greedy. You look back at that OKC trade for Paul George. They acquired Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and 5 first-round picks. They want that type of haul. Problem is, that to Alex's point, they want to stay competitive. They have no choice. When they traded for James Harden, they gave up a lot of their assets. They traded their picks, so they're forced to stay competitive because they don't have the draft picks to do a rebuild. They could get it in a Durant trade. But to Alex's point, you're not going to get equal value for him. Right now, I don't see them trading him. Maybe toward, like I said before he requested the trade publicly, somewhere by the draft, by the trade deadline, maybe they make a move because he has publicly said, "I want to be traded." He saw how they handled the Kyrie Irving trade contract talks. He saw how they failed in the playoffs year after year, and it's been a failed project, and he wants to go. There's been reports he wants to play with two other all-stars. I don't know what team that is. He's acting as if he's a free agent, and he's not. He's locked up in a contract.
That's a good point.
He can go to anywhere. They can send him to Washington. They can send him to OKC. Go back where we found you.
You can wish all you want.
You can hope all you want, but you're going to be forced to play where we send you. But who wants a player who doesn't want to be there? So it's gonna be a tough situation. I know you mentioned we could possibly bring in 2 superstars. I think that's wishful thinking unless you add in a couple trades. I don't know how that scenario works where we're able to get Mitchell and Durant.
Yeah, that's a rumor, a report that came out, that a possibility, and we'll discuss it later on. Of course, we're going to react to it as we're saying it, as you brought it up now, that there's a 3-team deal possibility where Durant and Mitchell make their way to Miami. Of course, though, that's giving up Tyler, Duncan, Bam. That's a big trade. Which
And Kyle.
Kyle Lowry.
Yeah,
but
you have to.
First off, and before we're going to get over to Neil and his opinion on this, but let's welcome Mr. Juan Vasquez. Juan, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. How are you guys?
All right, man. Doing all right.
Good, my man.
You're on.
Third
All
and
right.
1.
That's right. 3rd and 1. Neil, man, what do you think about this whole Durant thing? Are how do you think this kind of plays out? Or do you think is the Nets really going to try to hold on to him until the deadline, like Harrison's talking about, or do you think that they're just playing it up and trying to drive up that price?
I'm starting to feel like Durant is going to go somewhere that none of us had considered yet. It's going to be some like weird dark horse team, and we're going to hear about how they were back channeling their communications and at the last minute made some offer, and it's going to be like Portland or something crazy. I don't know. I don't think they have the assets that the Nets would want, but it's going to be something like that, and I want to agree with the points made earlier that Durant doesn't have that much leverage. I think, yes, nobody wants a player to be on their team that doesn't want to be there, but he's got 4 years left on his contract. Like, the Nets could just say, you know what, man, we haven't received any good offers yet, so we're just going to keep this thing going. Because the worst thing the Nets can do right now, the absolute worst thing they can do, is not get fair value for Durant. Because, like Harrison said, they traded everything away. They ruined their entire future in the James Harden deal. They have to stay competitive. Otherwise, they're just going to be some bottom East team for the next 5 years, unless they can get fair value for Durant and build a competitive team in 2 years, maybe 3, But if they don't do that, and that's why I think the Nets are going to, they're not just going to give him away. And that our chances of getting Kevin Durant, I will say, are a lot less than our chances of getting Donovan Mitchell. That's kind of how I've been feeling recently. I think if we are going to get one of those guys, it's probably Donovan Mitchell, and I'm okay with that. And I think the next question should be like, how likely is it that we get Donovan Mitchell? And I think that's a much more interesting conversation than are we going to get KD? Because if I look at our assets and our tradable assets, Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson and our picks do not make a competitive team. They make, would I think that the Nets would, they're not going to get blown out, but they would be starting Tyler Hero and we don't even start him, So why would the Nets want someone that we don't even view as startable because of how badly he plays on defense, And then Duncan Robinson, yes, his 3-point percentage is still good, 38%, but he really can't play defense. And he's become more situational now. That's not going to move the needle for them. So I want to still believe that KD could be a Heatle, but I am starting to see the candle flicker on that one.
I will say this very quick before we get over to Juan is that just to discuss about the leverage situation, because it kind of goes both ways, right? So the Nets gave up their future for James Harden, who is a rental, basically, went to Philadelphia. So they got to get picks back. They got to get as much value as they can to save face, because right now they look first of all, they're a horribly ran organization. So they got to save face and try to get those guys back, whether it's, like Alex was saying, trying to get a star player from the other team. But you're not going to get Booker. You're not going to get Jimmy. You're not going to get Damian Lillard if you're trying to look at Portland. They're not going to do that just so you can look good. You might get a Scotty Barnes from Toronto, and that's cool because Barnes, I think, is going to be a top player one day. He's that good. But, again, you might not because the team is not dumb enough like you are, Nets, Brooklyn, to get rid of their future. Now, the leverage that KD does have is how everybody's looking at Brooklyn right now. Brooklyn's trying to save face. But in the same sense, there's reports that they're not really looking to help Kyrie Irving. They don't give a damn. They're going to trade him to wherever they can trade him to get the most, whatever they can do. They're not going to trade him to L.A. just because he wants to go to L.A. If L.A. can offer good value for him, then they'll make the deal. But Kevin Durant's a different side. Kevin Durant hasn't been a headache like Kyrie. It benefits them to kind of do him a favor and get him to a team he'd be happy at because other superstars are looking at Brooklyn saying, look, let's see how they treat KD. Because if they trade him to some scrub organization like them, then superstars are not going to want to go play for Brooklyn. They're going to want to go and play for a team that is going to treat them better. So that's the only leverage KD has. So they're going to look, okay, he likes Phoenix. He likes Miami. He likes Toronto, or he likes Portland, then that might, whoever offers the best deal there, then we got to decide who really offers that best deal. And if we're the GM of Brooklyn trying to be unbiased, which one do we look at and go, okay, they really offer the best deal? But before we answer that or get into that, Juan, you're listening to everyone's takes. I know you're full of takes. So hit us up, man. What do you think about this KD situation?
Yeah, the more time passes on, I'm pretty much with the rest of you guys that don't think KD is going to end up here. I just think I think the Suns have the best package. Neil does put an interesting spin on it that we might see a team that we don't expect go in and swoop in for KD. But I still think that the Suns have the best package, man. I just don't see the way that Miami could pretty much put it together. They're going to want Bam. They're going to want one of the core players because they've said it now for 2-3 weeks in a row. Hey, this is possibly the biggest trade package of all time. And this is not analysts putting together. This is getting through, obviously the media is putting it out, but this is getting through Brooklyn. Brooklyn's putting this out. So they're going to pretty much want to hold this hostage. Pretty much they're going to want to hold KD hostage up until they can get the best possible deal. And who knows when that would be. The thing with the NBA is that, you wouldn't want a player to be there if they don't want to be there. But like you guys said, it's a player that has 4 years left on his deal. And now after the first time you have an ugly loss, you want out. So what would have happened if you go back 10 years ago and after LeBron had that horrible meltdown in the finals, it would have been like, no, that's it. Like, we're going to break it up, or we're going to trade LeBron, or we're going to trade Wade, or we're going to trade Bosh. So, like, that's just not how you look at it. And, even though I would love to end up with KD, a part of me is like, okay, like, this guy runs away from the pressure. Like, what's there to say? This is not me saying, by the way, disclaimer, this is not me saying that I wouldn't want KD on my team. I would absolutely want KD on my team. But
you almost got a foul there, Bobby.
Oh yeah,
I almost pressed the button.
You almost got fouled out right there.
There's nothing that's holding him back history-wise from him saying, like, you know what, I want out of here after 2 years.
Yeah,
so,
I was just thinking that.
Well, when you're thinking about putting a package together like that, we know Tyler's going, we know Duncan is going, we know Kyle is going. But then you have to start thinking, like, as a Heat fan, yeah, you're sending Tyler, Duncan, and a first rounder from 2032 in exchange for KD and Kyrie Irving. But if you're looking at it realistically, you're gonna have to give them a big piece back. Whether it's like, none of the names I mentioned before count as that. Like Neil said, Hero doesn't move the needle, Duncan doesn't move the needle, Lowry doesn't move the needle. You're looking at Bam.
The only issue with Bam, though, is that Bam can't be traded to Brooklyn unless they include Simmons or there's a third team. So that's going
to take a 3 or 4 team. That's a 3 or 4 team.
That could happen.
That's why it's complicated for Miami. Miami just doesn't have the package to put that together.
But see, Miami could put that package together, but we just know not going to. Like, we're not going to give up.
I would take Ben Simmons.
Either way,
Neil makes an excellent point in saying that, like, some team's going to come out. Some team's going to come out, and they're going to go ahead and trade for KD. And at the end, nobody expected them to end up trading for KD. And then when you look at it, it's like, oh, they had the best package this whole time. Like, right now, I look at the Suns, and I'm like, clearly, like, they're the favorites. Like, KD wants to go to a contender, obviously, because he doesn't want the challenge of a rebuild. That's the Suns. And he wants to go to a place where the team doesn't have to – if they got half the roster, it doesn't completely take them out of contention. The Suns have that luxury. So I think the Suns is where he ends up, but it could be a surprise. But the more it goes on, Miami, I don't think is a factor.
And I'll say, well, this is the thing, though. Alex brought this point up at the beginning, and we discussed this separately. The reason why I still think the Heat are very much in it, as is the Suns, because the Heat haven't really done anything. They've been pretty quiet besides signing their own guys back, but they lost PJ Tucker, which would have cost a lot more than other guys, so they let him walk. Phoenix, I don't really think Phoenix has done anything either, and they haven't signed DeAndre Ayton. I'm sorry, Alex.
That's the thing. No, it's fine.
So they've been pretty quiet too. So really, and I'm looking at, you think of Portland, they got Jeremy Grant, they've made some moves, other teams have kind of moved forward, and we're going to discuss that now because the Heat, quote unquote, might have missed out on some guys that we discussed prior to the KD situation. So I think the Heat feel like they're still very much in it. I think Pat Riley and company are still are still talking with Brooklyn as Brooklyn is trying to drive up that price because Phoenix hasn't met it.
Can I tell something about Phoenix? The problem is with Phoenix.
Has told me the package that Miami is going to send to Brooklyn. That's going to
be. Here's the thing. You're not.
Miami is always going to be, no matter what. It's never going to be a straight up trade. It's never going to be Miami and Brooklyn.
That's right.
These types of trades for compensation.
It's
going to be a 3-14 trade for sure.
That's why the report has come out. The report has come out too that Brooklyn has told teams get creative.
You have to.
Other teams, exactly.
You have to.
And that's where this whole other 3 team where Miami might end up, and that's where Adebayo was included with if you take Donovan and KD. But the package comes other forms because other teams might not want. They were saying Kyle Lowry not for Kyrie, that they told him, we're not going to trade you for Kyrie, but they never mentioned KD. So
look, that's one thing that I proposed. I remember I sent it to you guys on the message. These trades like this, especially with competitive teams, you always got to make a trade. 2 teams, 3 teams have to agree they're going to be better themselves. If they're not going to be better themselves, they take more compensation. For example, the Suns package. The Suns have a good package, but Aiden is holding them hostage. Aiden hasn't signed anywhere. If Aiden signs an offer sheet with like Indiana or well, I think Indiana's the last team with a cap, like real cap space, or maybe San Antonio. San Antonio, I think, is holding out. They even mentioned San Antonio as a possibility, absorbing Russell Westbrook, getting more picks. Russell Westbrook's an expiring contract. So even with the Lakers and Nets, San Antonio might get in there and be involved in the 3-team trade. But directly with Phoenix is held hostage because they need another team as well. Because Aiden might not want to go to Brooklyn. Brooklyn supposedly doesn't want Aiden.
Aiden can't be traded to Brooklyn because of the Ben Simmons situation.
Because of Ben Simmons.
Where Ben Simmons goes. So that's why, to me, it's not signed, sealed, and delivered with any team because I know, I'm not holding my breath because I'm not going to get disappointed. But it's still, Miami still has a very strong chance to acquire, or excuse me, I don't think Miami's out of the realm of acquiring KD. But it's going to include a 3-team deal. It's not going to be straight up. And that's why now that you get all these different reports, KD, that Brooklyn wants a player like Devin Booker or Bam Adebayo. But then they go, no, Brooklyn is comfortable with a Kyle Lowry and a Duncan Robinson. And they just want a plethora of picks. Well, Miami could have sent 2 picks and then 2 swaps. And then they say, Kevin Durant wants to play with at least 3 All-Stars, which is, really, this is a bunch of camps filling about information, teams as well, putting out information, trying to drive up the price.
For Brooklyn, if you're the GM for Brooklyn, do you think that's a good deal?
I have to know the other deals. Because to me, if you're keeping Ben Simmons, you're not really going to get equal value for KD. You're not going to get equal value. You're not going to get, and I don't even think Devin Booker is equal value, but you're not going to get Devin Booker. You're not going to get Jimmy Butler. You're not going to get Dame Lillard. You're not going to get for KD. But you might get maybe you want DeAndre Ayton, which the report was Brooklyn does not want Ayton. But you get Ayton, who's a young star player, but you can't because then you got to move Ben Simmons. But if you're going to build around Ben Simmons, and first off, this is the other thing to think about too. Brooklyn has not made any really good moves. They haven't done anything smart. So what's to think of now? All of a sudden they know what they're going to do.
Because they have to wait for KD to move. And with the moves that Pat Riley has done so far in the offseason, nothing tells me that he's calling up 1 or 2 other teams to create this.
What moves has he done in the offseason? What moves?
He has.
Signing Caleb Martin. Signing Caleb Martin, these are value moves, but they're not doing anything special.
Exactly. That's the point. That's the point.
That's the point.
They're going to do the same thing that they've done every single year. Hey, we're going to try to get this big player. We're going to kind of try. If it gets too complicated, we're just going to keep doing our thing.
Yeah, but they have fallback options with John Collins. They have,
Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell's not really a fallback option. To me, he's a number 1. Now it says that
Donovan Mitchell might not want to ask out of Utah.
Yeah, I would rather.
Donovan Mitchell's asking out of Utah. Donovan Mitchell's asking out of Utah.
Miami's not being aggressive.
But wait a second, stop.
Okay, but hold on.
Miami's not being aggressive, but how would they be aggressive? Because if they're trying to that's the point of that they're still in the KD situation to me. They're not aggressive. Other teams are making moves, which we're going to that right now, and we might as well. But the reason why I see them not being aggressive, I'm not going, man, they missed out on this guy. Man, Pat Riley sucks, man. He's old now. He's not doing nothing. No, to me, he's trying to do something. And if he misses out on KD, who's a generational player like LeBron, then he misses out on KD, but it doesn't mean he's not trying to get KD. Now, how do you respond to that? Well, like Alex and I have talked, and the way the reports are coming, fallback option, Jay Crowder. Does that really move the needle? John Collins, I think it does. If he falls back and trades Duncan Robinson for John Collins, I'm not mad at that. To me, that's a good move. Because guess what? This current Heat team was in the Eastern Conference Finals, a 3-pointer away from making it to the NBA Finals. So if the only player that they've missed is PJ Tucker. Go ahead, Alex.
One thing that's very important in off seasons and key off seasons for contenders. A lot of people see moves, physical moves, and X person signed for this much money. Oh, he's active. Oh, that team is really doing something. But those are teams that are just adding players. The Heat and most championships organization, when you're doing a seismic move of this magnitude, you don't hear much about it. You don't hear details. You'll start hearing rumors coming out as it gets closer to a deal because everybody's leaking for leverage and for this and for that. And then right now, this is just in the preliminary stages. Right now, Sean Marks is literally just answering the phone. Okay, you'll give me that. You'll give me that. Okay, cool. I'll file this one, 1A. And then it's just going to continue and continue. You're not going to see KD get traded, if traded, in less than 2 weeks or 3 weeks, maybe training camp. He's not going to start the season. If KD starts the season with the Nets, he's not getting traded. He's going to get traded before the season starts, or if not, he plays out the whole season. There's no mid-season trade of a player of KD's caliber. That's like moving LeBron in mid-season.
If he chooses not to play, if he chooses not to play,
that's different. That's different. No, but that's the Simmons. That's the Simmons situation. I'm talking about KD doesn't seem to be the player that's just gonna not show up and not play. Like he seems to be. I don't know.
To Wong's point, he's very sensitive. You're
talking about
he's sensitive. You're talking about Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Don't label them. God forbid. God forbid. Don't label them.
About the guy, this guy started beefing with Bam at the Olympics because he didn't want to because Bam wouldn't give him the ball. Like,
that's playful. That's playful. No, that's playful.
The guy thinks he's still on Golden State. He fights with Draymond Green every week.
That's guys. Come on, man.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Bobby. I think the Milwaukee Bucks should trade for Kevin Durant. They have the assets.
Yeah.
They got Middleton. They have draft picks.
They have what?
Giannis and Durant.
Well, they got draft picks. They acquired Drew Holiday, baby.
They back to where he came from.
All right, so let's continue this conversation, but in a different way, and we'll start with Juan because Juan's making this point. So as Miami continues, obviously, to discuss a deal with the Nets as the Suns for Kevin Durant or Mitchell, they have missed out on players that we've discussed that could help the Heat, especially at the 4 position. You know, Kyle Anderson, T.J. Warren, Otto Porter, Chris Boucher, etc. There's still other guys on the market, but Juan, starting with you, man. And I know where you're probably gonna go with this, but are you okay with the Heat missing out on capable players that could help the team right now in hopes of landing a player like Kevin Durant?
No. And this is the reason I'm not okay with it. Pat Riley, you guys said, Pat Riley might be in the mix. There's how many teams are probably in the mix? 25 other teams, probably more, are in the mix for KD in some way. Pat Riley is in the line. He's not trying to get to the front of the line. He's not trying to get the fast pass to get on the ride before everybody else to try to negotiate for Kevin Durant. He's not being the one that's gonna come out, and when these things are going on, like you guys said, the rumors start going around. Pat Riley hasn't come out and put out the best offer that Brooklyn could accept. He hasn't set the bar yet. Everybody's kind of just waiting around, and Pat Riley's one of those guys for a team. And like you said, Bobby, for a team that was just in the Eastern Conference Finals, you can't sit around and wait because the Celtics, in some type of way, probably are looking around to see what's going to happen with KD and seeing if they could get a grab at him. They're still getting better. Obviously, they don't need KD as bad as we need KD, but they're still getting better. Every other team in the Eastern Conference is getting better. So, and Miami is doing the same thing it's done for the last 3 years. And I don't know how it's not obvious to you guys that they're just doing the same thing. Yes, they signed ever since they signed Jimmy. Every other offseason or every offseason after that, it's been just adding pieces to the puzzle. Just one or two more pieces to the puzzle. Right now, the puzzle you made, it's not good enough to win the whole thing. The puzzle's already made. There's no more pieces you can add as far as small value pieces that's going to take you over the hump. So if you're going to get in the race for KD, you're either at the front of the line or you're trying to pick up other players that can move the needle. Yeah, John Collins is available. If KD is going to get dragged out into the season, you can't just sit around waiting for KD to come available. If he's you have to move with him the same way you move with every other player. You try your best cards up front. You say you move all your cards to the table. This is where you're gonna get. And if not, then don't hold the franchise back because we have a championship team that's very close to coming together, and it's too far away to only add supplemental pieces, and it's very close to not try to add a big piece to try to bring it up. So that's how I feel about it.
Harrison, respond.
Yeah, we don't have a championship team. That was adamant this year, and we lost a player in PJ Tucker. We don't have a championship team. We have
Just
a
keep
number
getting
one
worse
in
and
the East.
worse, bro. Just keep getting worse and worse. Jesus Christ.
That is not PJ Tucker doesn't make a championship.
No, exactly. We lost this year, but so we dropped from 1 to what, 4? We have a team that compete. So you're acting as if this is a race for Kevin Durant. Brooklyn has made it known this is not a race; it's a marathon. He's under 4-year deal. They're willing to wait it out. Miami's still good enough to compete in the East for a playoff spot. If Brooklyn says, "Well, this isn't the best deal we're going to get. We need to have someone to play," and we're in the position to go and get him mid-season, or like Alex said, a little bit later in the game, but still early enough to get him on the team, then you wait it out. You know, you can't say, "Oh, I love Pat Riley, I love Miami," and then you're saying, "Oh, we suck now, we're not going to win." Well, who? What's the play we're going to do? Who are we going to bring in if not wait for Kevin Durant? Utah's also made it notice that they're not going to want to trade off Mitchell. They want to build around him.
But I think they're gonna break a little bit sooner than Brooklyn will. You know, I mean, I think Donovan Mitchell
Brooklyn has all the leverage. Yeah,
I think Donovan Mitchell in the next couple of weeks is gonna successfully force his ass out, and I think if I were answering this question, I would say it depends on who we miss out on, right? I mean, let's say that the NBA market, you know, stays stale through July and August and September. I'm comfortable waiting if all of these guys, Mitchell, Collins, you know, other guys like that, you know, I mean, they're, you know, what's the center from Indiana? Miles Turner, he's still available, right? He's still out there hanging out. You know, I mean, there are a lot of people out there that the Heat could still pivot towards if Durant ends up getting traded somewhere other than Miami. I would be nervous if, you know, Durant gets traded midseason, all those dudes are gone, because then I'm sitting here like, well, damn, I mean, what do we have now? You know, so I think it's a combination of both. Like, we have to wait for KD, but there is a point where we have to shit or get off the pot, you know, and that's like if Mitchell goes before KD, I think I start freaking out. But I don't think that's going to happen. I do think that Mitchell is going to wait, you know, a little bit. And I think, you know, I would be surprised if KD is a midseason trade. I would. So I don't know if we're going to have to, you know, that's going to have to be a reality. I do think it happens before the offseason, like Alex said, or during the offseason, like Alex said. It's just going to be a question of, have we missed out on pieces that could, with our current talent, have made us championship contenders? And that's kind of where I'm also with Harrison a little bit. Like, you know, are there pieces out there other than Mitchell and Collins? I don't even know if adding John Collins to this team makes us a championship contender. I think Butler, Mitchell, and Bam could. I think that's a solid team if we don't have to. Well, we'd give up Hero, though. So, I mean, what's our bench look like? You still have Strus and you have Martin. So maybe our bench is still good. I think that team could go for a championship. But other than that team, I really don't know if there's anyone out there that would make us for sure championship contenders if every other team stays healthy. Because if we got like Miles Turner, Bam, Butler, I don't think we'd have to give up Hero in that trade. I think that could be like Duncan Robinson and a pick or whatever. So maybe Hero is on the bench and can still provide some relief. I guess just to wrap up my thought, I think that there is value in waiting for Durant because he makes this team a legitimate championship contender for years. But there is a point where I think we have to move on.
I gotta say, I agree with Neil's points. I think they were very good, and he got me leaning here. And you know, because it's true, it's depending on who you're losing. You know, if you're losing Otto Porter and this guy, yeah, that's, you know, I'm okay with missing out on those guys. You know, but if somebody like, you know, he was saying it was Donovan Mitchell or whomever starts getting moved, then that's a different story because now you're kind of steadfast. But the Heat, you know, every team right now is looking towards Durant because it's Durant. It was, you know, Durant who labeled the Heat, or the report that came out was the Heat and the Suns that Durant was interested in going. It wasn't the other way around. And the Heat have made moves though to discuss that. They went and got Jimmy Butler when nobody thought they could get Jimmy Butler. They had no cap and they made the trade for Jimmy Butler. That's pretty big. I mean, we're not Pat Riley, Kyle Lowry, the same type of thing. They were in different, but then they made a trade and they got Kyle Lowry. So, it's two ends of a sword here because we're like, oh, they're not going to get Durant. No, they're missing out on this guy. But what have the Heat done? I mean, haven't they shown that they will try to do a move to try to move the needle? And that's what they're trying to do right now. So, I think it's a little sticky.
It's not for KD though. Like Jimmy Butler,
big fish hunting.
Kyle Lowry is not. It's not the same time.
Jimmy Butler's a top 10 player. So at
that time he wasn't.
At that time he was.
But a player like, so let me say this, what do you want? And Alex, I know you had to say something, but I just have to ask this. What I have to ask is, what do you want Pat Riley to do? I mean, do you want him to say yes? Let's bring it. Here's Bam Adebayo, here's Tyler Hero, here's Duncan Robinson, here's 3 first-round picks, and here's 2 draft swaps, and then so they can get what they want? Or do you want them to say, hey, here's what I'm going to offer you. Go try to see what else is out there. Come back to me, and I'll see what we can. What are you wanting him to do? Just go all out and get this guy, or try to get the best deal possible? Because that's what they did with Jimmy. Jimmy was it wasn't an easy trade. That's what they did with Kyle Lowry. He's an all-star, a champion. It takes time. These trades take time. It works out, and they might not get him, but at least they're trying. I mean and obviously KD thinks highly of the Heat because he wants to play for the Heat as he does with Phoenix. Those are 2 teams he wants to go because of the type of organizations they are. Alex, what are you thinking, man? I know you've been waiting.
Oh, man. So many things to say. So little time. First and foremost, I'll start with one of his points. This is negotiations 101. You never give your best offer right off the bat. That doesn't exist in any professional setting, especially in sports. With the KD situation, you were never going to acquire KD. The moment he required the moment he requests a trade, you're not going to acquire Kevin Durant as your first offer. Why? Because we've talked about before. He's under contract for 4 years. He's Kevin Durant. Even if he's under contract for a year, he's Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is a player that is a seismic move in the NBA. He can literally, it's kind of like LeBron. You can put Kevin Durant in any team and they're automatically a playoff team. Might not be a championship team because they don't have the necessary role players, but you can put Kevin Durant with a bunch of scrubs, which for the last couple of years, when Kyrie has been out, when other key players have been injured, James Harden wasn't performing, he was playing with minimal talent, and he still got him to the playoffs. So KD's minutes have been insane, and he's just recouping from a torn Achilles. So the Kevin Durant situation, people, like I said, people want to see movement. We, as human beings, we need to see physical movement. If we don't know what's going on, that we refresh Twitter. Oh, what did they say? What did this reporter say? What? We work in silence. The biggest negotiations have always gone down and people haven't found out about anything. The close to be trades that never happen have almost happened and people have never found out. You hear about it later on. And when it comes to the offseason, I never get afraid when I see the Heat in silence because you're making moves that you were going to make no matter what. You were going to sign Caleb Martin because Caleb Martin, you want to have him on this squad. You were going to sign Oladipo. You wanted to have him on this squad. They know what they're doing. And I'll attack that point later before I forget. But one thing I want to say, the only offseason that we kind of got played, per se, was the LeBron offseason in 2014. Because 2014, LeBron held every team hostage. And we were too late in the game. When we found out he was going to sign with Cleveland, we were too late and able to be able to talk to Carmelo Anthony. That's the one time, the offseason, that's the only time I remember in the offseason that the Heat mismanaged per se, but they were waiting for LeBron because by the time LeBron made the decision to go back to Cleveland, we didn't have enough time because Carmelo Anthony already made up his mind to re-sign with New York. That's the only time in the offseason I've seen that happen. The rest of the times, we work diligently. There's always plans. So the fact, and you brought up something new, and I actually think it's going to happen. I believe Donovan Mitchell will be moved before Kevin Durant. Not right now. It's still probably like a week or 2 weeks away because what they're doing now, Utah's trying to build. I don't know if it's Donovan Mitchell at this point or if it's Utah. They're trying to build a narrative. Now, Donovan Mitchell supposedly is upset that they traded Rudy Gobert. Before, they were saying that he didn't want to play with Rudy Gobert. So Utah obviously is going to hold on to Donovan Mitchell. Oh, we're going to build around you. But Donovan Mitchell, the number one question is like, you just traded one of my good friends. You didn't re-sign another of my friends. You just traded Rudy Gobert. How are you going to build around me? Like, what are you going to do with these assets? Because all you're doing is collecting first-round picks. Have you seen that Utah roster? Have you guys looked at it just by name? By any chance? Or no?
I haven't looked at it recently.
You haven't seen it?
With the people that have gone, I don't even know who's on it right now.
There's no one. It's just Donovan Mitchell, first-round picks,
And
first-round
Bo
picks.
Cruz.
There's like 3 or 4. Bo Cruz.
I got Bo Cruz on the roster.
No, they released him.
Oh,
But
Miami needs him.
What I'm trying to say, guys, with the Kevin Durant, when a player like this becomes available, there's always conversations. Even while you're waiting for Kevin Durant, that's why when you notice when one of these trades happen or a free agent signs, all the other signings start happening automatically. There's a contingency plan. So even agents are always talking, and they wait it out. That's why even Victor Oladipo now, it was a 1-year contract. They speak to his agent. They make it a 2-year contract. He still has the same rights because it's a player option. So a player option only guarantees you 1 year. So he can still veto any trade that he does. If he doesn't want to go, huh?
Oh, well, he is tradable, but you're right. He could veto it.
He can veto it. He still has right because even if it's a 2-year deal, the second year is a player option. So it's not a guaranteed deal. So if he opts out, it was only a 1-year deal. So he controls his destiny.
That bummed me out a little bit. I was hoping that one.
But who worked that out? The agents with the front office.
Yeah.
Why? It reduces the cap a little bit. Miami has more space, and we're not hard cap. So now when you're not hard cap, you can start taking salaries back in other trades. So this is a sequence. This isn't people are afraid that Pat Riley's just hanging out in his office, just sleeping. No. Pat Riley and Andy Ellisberg, they're working. They're working, and you have to exhaust every single option if it's viable to acquire Kevin Durant. You might even pull out if the cost is way too high.
I would hope, though, that we could still get a shot at Mitchell after KD.
Oh, always.
Well, you guys. So you're telling me that you're willing to miss out on Donovan Mitchell for a chance of getting KD?
No, you're not missing out.
KD for a chance.
I think every team.
You're not missing out. You're constantly communicating.
Kevin Durant.
Absolutely.
Like
you're right, because I think the
there's
teams that are willing to trade
jumped
for Mitchell are the teams that are waiting for Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
there's
teams that jumped and made big moves already that definitely regret making those moves. Like you can't tell me Atlanta, who got a really good player in Murray, don't regret waiting it out. Like, oh man, Kevin Durant became available. We could have gone and gotten Kevin Durant instead of bringing in Devontae Murray from the Spurs. Like Atlanta wishes they waited it out. So
that's true. I think
Boston. But look, for example, you mentioned Boston. I forgot who mentioned Boston in the beginning of the show. Someone mentioned what Boston acquired. What, wrong? Boston makes that move. That's it. That's the move that Boston's going to make this offseason. They're not going to do anything else. They might add a role player. Brogdon. That's it. They're not going to add anybody else. That is their move.
Big move. And it was a big move. It was a good move.
It was a big move. But why do they do it? Is because I know this is my chance to improve my roster, take it to the next level. But that's it. You're not going to acquire anybody else. You're going to acquire maybe role players, some depth, maybe some young guys. But that's it. That is your roster. With Miami, you have the option. You have the opportunity to acquire Kevin Durant. You're like, wait a second. You have a plan here. You're talking to all these players like, look, this is our plan. We're going to go for this person. We have this offer on the table. If this person accepts this offer, we get this trade. This is your offer. If he doesn't, this is your offer. These agents talk constantly. People think that's only one. These agents are on the phone every single day with every single GM, and there is a plan for absolutely everything. If KD gets traded to the Jazz, there's a plan for every other team to do something, which is not going to get traded to the Jazz.
So let's talk about if they do miss out on Durant. Durant gets traded. They try.
Are you making a protein? Is Harrison making a protein shake in the middle of our podcast?
I hope so. I don't see his hand. It's freaking me out.
What are you doing?
Let's say Durant. Let's say Durant gets traded. Let's say Mitchell goes wherever. He doesn't go with the Jazz. He sticks with the Jazz, or he gets traded elsewhere. Miami doesn't get any of these guys. And Kyrie, which I'm not interested in, but he gets moved to LA. So Harrison, starting with you, if you don't have anybody, you could just pass it off. But who are some fallback options for the Miami Heat? Is it another trade, or is it a guy in free agency? You go, hey man, we could pick this guy up, and he could give me that 4 for us, that stretch 4. Is there anybody that could be a fallback option that would make you feel better if Miami lost out on these two guys?
Yeah, like I said in the past, that I think Bam is our best 4 option, and if we can bring in a guy like Miles Turner, who can play the legitimate center position, then Bam can play that 4. But if not, you go and you get a John Collins from Atlanta. That's another guy, a true 4, and you let Bam play the 5 again and run it back. And that puts you in a good position. I take John Collins over an old Tucker any day.
John Collins, yeah, I like John. I've been staying. Alex, what about you, man?
Fallback options. About realistically, this is something that I've talked about. I believe in internal growth, and I think I've pointed out many times. Realistically, get ready.
No,
get ready,
dude, don't
get
do
ready,
it.
man. Get ready. People don't know. People do not know. This team, when you guys mentioned that this team wasn't a championship contending team, first of all, I even forgot about that point before. We were a championship contending team last year.
Just say your point. Just get there.
Say his name so we
Just
can move on.
Just say his name.
My fallback option, without any issues whatsoever, is having Bam at the 4. You either start Demon on Omer, and you got Jovic coming off the bench. Probably. You can bomb me all you want, guys. You can hate it all you want. Remember this day, Bob. What day is today? What day is today? The 6th.
You're out of here.
We already know there's no.
You're out.
When you got Jovic coming off the bench, a veteran presence, just balling now. Don't remember my name. Remember.
You just airballed the game-winning shot. And this is how
Jimmy Butlered it. You Jimmy Butlered it.
You're 7.
There's no fallback option. KD is going to be the last domino to fall.
Come on. Hey, dude. I mean, you had to go there. And, all right. Juan, fallback options. Put your positive.
He doesn't have
Let me
one.
finish. I know.
There's nothing positive.
I'll finish one. There's just a veteran 4. A veteran 4 for insurance. That's it.
Positive after AJ just went from KD to like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing here? Like, internal development. Yeah, he's saying that because he knows what it is. AJ is trying to sell this to you. Miami has options. No, Miami's taking a chance. What KD is going to be the last domino to fall. Bobby, if we miss out on KD, there are no fallback options because Mitchell's already off the market. All these players are already off the market. Like, you're gonna have to go out, and that's why I said you're gonna have to just.
So wait a second. Hold on. Let me ask you a different way. Let me ask you.
Players are on Jimmy, and pray that by the trade deadline you can do something with KD. And you're taking a chance of not doing anything until the trade deadline, just for a chance of getting KD. And if you don't get him, then what? You didn't do anything for a whole year, and you're wasting another year of Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, but wait a second. So
yeah, I agree with that.
But who would have been if it wasn't KD?
Get out of here.
If KD was never available, which he only became available because he demanded a trade. It was only Kyrie, and we were talking
That's
Kyrie.
it.
But if it wasn't KD, who was your option then at the 4? Because KD was never an option before. He just became the option. But now if we don't get him, it's the end of the world. God forbid, it's over. So what was the option for? Now if it's KD or nobody?
The focus is the same focus we had before, is getting a guard. Getting a guard.
Wasn't a guard for me.
It's going back to Donovan Mitchell.
We
don't
need a guard.
Yes, we do. We needed.
Yes, we do.
We were talking about Donovan Mitchell. We were talking about Zach LaVine, a guy.
You guys wanted a secondary scorer. A secondary scorer. Secondary scorer.
And John Collins isn't a secondary scorer.
Yeah, John Collins is not a secondary
No
scorer.
one
I'm just saying you guys talking about we needed a guard.
Most of the guys we talked about
Yes,
were
we did.
Well, we need a secondary
Max
scorer.
Strus was the starting shooting guard, bro.
There's no problem. Max Strus can be a starting shooting guard.
That's a huge problem.
There's no problem at all. In the right lineup.
Problem.
in the right lineup with star players, Alex.
That's
absolutely.
Alex, you're picking number 1 in the draft every year.
No, I'm not. I'll tell you why not. This is very simple. Very simple. Okay. When you're building a team right now, do you have right now? Tell me which NBA team has 4 starters that are averaging 20 points. Which
Miami's
NBA team
the
has
only
that?
team that goes by that style of
so
play.
you guys understand. You guys are talking about we need a guard. If your star player is your center, your power forward, your small forward, what do teams have? What do the Bronze champion teams have at point guard or at shooting guard? You have a player that fits the mold, that fits that lineup, that is cohesive with that lineup. You don't need a star guard if you have a star power forward, a star center, a star small forward. What I'm trying to say,
Yeah,
I'm
but you're
trying to
talking
remove
about-
from you guys.
You're talking about the
2013, that was
teams
before the
LeBron
game
James.
No.
had three-pointers,
We
man.
don't have those guys.
You're talking about a different style of basketball when we won that
Yeah.
championship. It's not that teams don't win championships like that anymore.
What are
Your
you
shooting
talking
guard-
about?
Your shooting guard is usually your second option or your main option at scoring, man. Like you can't.
But you're labeling it a guard.
Shooting guard.
You're labeling it a guard, man. Look at even the Warriors right now. You got Curry, you got Klay Thompson, and who is your role
And who
player
else?
there?
And Jordan, look at the numbers Jordan Poole was putting up.
Yeah,
He was putting up, but look at the finals.
Jordan Poole was putting up, man, and when Jordan Poole wasn't there, it was Klay Thompson.
Oh man.
You're losing, Alex.
You just
Hey,
can't-
it's
you
okay,
just-
bro.
I'll
It's
say this.
okay.
I'll say this. 'Cause
Milwaukee Bucks. Who's their second
Come at
scorer?
me at the
A
fall.
shooting
Come at
guard,
me at the
Chris
fall.
Here's the
Chris
thing. I'll say
Middleton?
this about
Chris Middleton?
fallbacks.
It's a small forward.
Middleton's a shooting. Well,
He's
Yeah,
well,
small
Drew
forward.
Holiday.
double check.
Drew Holiday.
Double check.
Middleton is a shooting guard.
Middleton's
He's a
a
small
shooting
forward.
guard.
Don't take no shooting guard.
Yes, he is that
Get outta
small
here,
forward.
man. He's got to get out of here, bro.
He's a forward.
What?
Giannis, come on, man.
I'm opening 2K right now.
Yeah. What part of
Oh.
You're about to be
what part
proven
of this
wrong.
game says small
I know
forward?
for a fact he's a forward in 2K. I know that. Don't open it up. I know.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead,
What
Harrison.
the hell are you talking about? You better get proved wrong. Yeah, you better
Look, you
fall
got
back.
off the screen.
Dumbass. No, you know what? That's fair. Okay, so
What's fair? Who
let's
do you
talk
agree
about
with?
Donovan Mitchell and Tyler Hero, because I talked about the reason why we brought up Donovan Mitchell and Zach LaVine, Harris was saying, and these guys, because those are guys that were rumored to be available. Zach LaVine was a free agent. Donovan Mitchell is always on the trade market, as is Bradley Beal, who's now signed that max contract, who went back to the Wizards. Those are why we brought those guys up. But if those guys weren't, and the guys we're talking about free agency, those are the secondary options. It's a secondary scorer, as Alex was saying, not guard. So, because if we stuck with everybody, we didn't need a guard. We needed a stretch four because Tucker was leaving. So, but let's talk about Mitchell, because Alex riled everybody up, or at least me at least, and said, because somebody put a tweet out there saying, which again, I'm happy with Tyler Hero if he stays, big piece of Miami. He's growing 6th man of the year. We're trashing him. Really, we're not trashing him. I mean, whatever. But they did a stat comparison with Donovan Mitchell and Tyler Hero. Alex shared that, and he said, stats don't lie. I call BS. Stats do lie.
You can say it, bullshit. That's fine.
But so Alex, I'm gonna let you start this off, and then you guys come up. Let's be fair. Let him go. Hopefully, he doesn't take 20 minutes on it. But
I'll be quick.
But
to it.
why do stats don't lie? Because I think they do, and it goes for. And I know I'm gonna piss some people off with why I say stats lie. But Alex, why do stats don't lie when it comes to Tyler Hero and Donovan Mitchell?
Well, when I compare Mitchell and Hero, people hear Mitchell and they think the name, big game, the persona that it comes with, the rumors for a few years already, his relationship with Bam. Relationships are important. But when I sit down and I analyze the player, okay, and I compare it side by side with Mitchell and Hero, all their numbers match up. You can even argue that Hero scoring was more important to Miami than Donovan Mitchell's last year. I haven't looked at those stats, but I know
Mitchell didn't play for Miami, so his.
Please elaborate.
No. Mitchell for Utah. Mitchell for Utah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Like
sorry.
when Hero didn't play, and I told you this in the beginning of the offseason. What did I tell you at the beginning? I'm like, Hero's going to be the leading scorer of this team. Why? Because this team is built for Hero to just be the offensive weapon. Hero's defense got better during the year. The problem, it did. The problem is with Hero is he started losing the weight, the muscle that he had gained. That's why he was pushed around a little bit more. That will change in the offseason. My plus with Hero, that I'm okay Once again, because Donovan Mitchell wasn't going to be available this offseason. Kevin Durant wasn't going to be available this offseason. Us as a fan base, the Heat fan base, they've become a little too, I'm not going to say I'm not appreciative, but they're a little bit entitled when they're like, they think that we have to get every player. We go for every player, but we're in every conversation. If the player does not become available, are you going to fault the Heat for staying with Tyler Hero, quote unquote? No, you're not, because you're developing a piece. People forget the Warriors, Klay Thompson, Curry. Oh, yeah, Juan would. Juan doesn't even know. Curry and Thompson, they didn't win a championship their third year. They went through trials and tribulations. They had to build that team from the ground up. They didn't just make a trade into, Klay is struggling. Steph Curry is his ankles. That's why Steph Curry signed that small deal. He had ankle issues. Anybody else? Oh no, this guy's ankle.
He's going out of his prime, carrying them to the Eastern Conference Finals or the Western Conference Finals, since they're in the Western Conference. So it's not a comparable situation.
Well, no, it's a comparable situation in regards to when they become a championship contender, which the Heat are now. And I'm not comparing the players. So please don't misquote me.
They're just a rebuilding team in their third year. Like,
no. But remember, they signed, and once again, hear me out. I'm not comparing the two players. I'm talking about the roles, quote unquote. When they signed Andre Iguodala, he was in his 32-33, defensive specialist, veteran player. He's the one that put him over the top. When you had a Curry, a Thompson, and all that. What I'm saying is that Hero's development and Bam's development, of full development, is still a year to 2 years away. I understand we got Jimmy, and we got to bridge that gap, and we got to go for it.
We don't have 1 or 2 years.
Yeah, we do. Jimmy has 1 or 2 more years. We might not win a championship next year, but this team will be fully formed if we don't trade. I'm not vouching for that. I'm just playing devil's advocate if these trades don't go down. I'm okay if with the team that we have, we are continuing going, and we are a championship contender right now. We're missing a few pieces that you have to add on, but even the Jovic signing, the Jovic drafting, Jovic in a year or two, Jovic's going to contribute this year. He'll probably be a rotational player. In a year or two, like you guys don't see it, but in a year or two, this team will be fully formed, even if we don't make any trades. Jimmy understands that we're going off for it. If we don't get Kevin Durant, it's not the end of the world, guys. If we don't get a Donovan Mitchell, it's not the end of the world. We are just.
We have Tyler Hero to save us.
Absolutely.
Well, so hold on. I know. Hold on. So let me just respond to that very quick. But that wasn't the point, really. I mean, now you're getting a little more deeper about it, because you said stats don't lie, they're comparable. But really, You're not really comparing the two players, because you can't rely on Tyler Hero to be that secondary player for you to pick up the slack when Jimmy can't.
Secondary scorer, you can.
No, you can't.
He did it all of last season. He did it all season. All season.
Hold on. I let you talk. Did I let you talk? Hold on. Did I let you talk? I let you talk, right? So,
okay, Mother, I'm sorry. My apologies.
Let me talk, bro. All right. Listen, my point. Listen, what I'm trying to say is, there's stats, and then there's, because people go, stats don't lie. People love to use stats, but what's the eye test tell you? What did Donovan Mitchell do when he was in the playoffs? Can you fill me in?
Drop 50 consecutively.
Yes, thank you. And with Rudy Gobert, and so
what did Tyler Hero do his rookie year in the playoffs? His rookie year.
Get bounced.
Okay.
Get bounced. Okay. Okay.
One game in the bubble, AJ. One game in the bubble.
One game. Look at this guy.
Let me take this over, Bobby. Let me take this over, because stats don't lie. I'll use stats against stats. Who's a 3-time All-Star? Donovan Mitchell, Tyler Hero. Okay, it's Mitchell.
Okay.
Who has a higher player efficiency rating? It's Donovan Mitchell.
Pretty close though. They're pretty close.
It's different, because there's the way the brackets run down. Alex, if you look at
the way my bank account is set up is
Okay, player efficiency rating. You want to be schooled, or you just want to listen?
Go ahead. I got time. Go.
Okay, so Tyler Hero's player efficiency rating scales at slightly above average player, where Donovan Mitchell is at a third offensive option with his and that's because he takes bad shots, because that's based on their player efficiency rating.
Who shoots a better? Who has a better shooting percentage?
The highest score this year was Joker, and he had 32.85, and that's an all-time great season.
Juan, you note the time on this?
Can we agree? By the way, Tyler Hero's a better defender than Donovan Mitchell. Have you guys seen
Really?
Donovan Mitchell play
But
defense?
is he better?
Donovan Mitchell
Is he a
averages
better-
1.3 steals per game.
Wait, but who's
You just
a
told me
better
1.3
player? But
steals.
Who's a better player? Who's a better
Well,
player?
Overall, who's a better player right now? Donovan Mitchell.
Alex.
Yeah, I'm honest with that. Overall, who's a
terrible.
but it's
AJ,
more of a name.
Elaborate on how much better Donovan Mitchell is than Tyler Hero, in your opinion.
Well, I think it will play into effect having Jimmy and Bam around. Donovan Mitchell might
Answer
take
the
even another
question
step.
straight up, AJ. Don't dance around it. Answer the question.
What are you asking me?
Better-
What are you asking me? How?
Don't dance. This ain't living la vida loca. This ain't salsa, homie. So stand up. Answer the question. Like a politician.
Ask me the question. Go.
How much better is Donovan Mitchell than Tyler Hero, in your opinion?
I think he's slightly better. Because what I see in Tyler Hero.
What did he be so nice that he couldn't even hold it?
No. What I see, Donovan Mitchell to me is already, this is peak right now. And he's an awesome player. He's a great player, but he's peaked right now. That's it. There's no more from Donovan Mitchell.
How old is Mitchell?
Mitchell's 25.
He's only 5 years in the league. Yeah, he's
25.
But I'm not saying about time-wise. I'm saying his game. He
you're
is
saying-
6'1".
I agree with that.
You said he's peak, but every player that has come to Miami that is a star player has gotten better here. So why would he
absolutely.
go here
Right
even
there.
better?
What I see is about
to this guy that we haven't seen, because Utah doesn't know how to tap into that. Miami does. That's why
that's
you
true.
can't stay. And going back to my other point, and guys, it'll be my last take because I gotta go. Back to my other point. That's why you can't stay around, looking around for KD, because at the end of the day, KD, yes, he's a great player, but the more I look at him, the more he's the 2015 BMW from off lease only with 300,000 miles on it and every light on the top. So why not just go for the Honda Accord that has the turbo and the leather seats that can go just as fast and looks just as good and can put up probably more efficiency long term, and still the impact of the points and defense. I'm not going to talk too much about defense because Mitchell can be a little bit better than Hero defense, and KD already the defensive player that you would expect a 7-footer to be. So that's what I ended up with. You can build around Tyler Hero, and his stats are inflated because as a bench player, he was playing the most.
That's not a lie.
Oh my God, bro! The bench player argument again. Jesus Christ, bro!
That's not a lie. That's not a lie. As a starter, his
isn't even close to the next second guy coming up, and that's all I'm gonna say. It's not close when you're comparing the two players. Donovan Mitchell has proved himself in the playoffs, outside of the bubble, in the bubble, before the bubble, after the bubble, and all Tyler Hero has is a 37-point game against a Celtics team that was still puppies without teeth on their mouth. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm out of here.
You can't just leave on a hot thing.
He's on fire.
He's leaving on a high.
He's just gone.
He left on a high note. He left on a high note. All right, Juan.
Oh man.
All right.
That was good. I'll give it to him. That was good.
And we were gonna do top 10, but since Neil had to jump off and Juan was running, we'll start that off with the next show. Our top 10 players. That's gonna be a lively debate. I know you wanted to do it. But we're gonna hold it.
Now this is just old school 10th Street talk. This is us sitting in the front porch.
This is disgusting.
Because it's water. That's why.
Yeah. Oh.
It's no longer water.
This tastes like nothing. This is just water and ice.
So that was fun. But yeah, we were gonna do top 10 guys, but since Neil, I didn't want to leave Neil and Juan out, but I guess we could present our top 10s and then let them do theirs.
I agree.
That wouldn't be fun though, because we gotta get everybody's reaction.
I think, we can, but
we can get a reaction next show. We'll go back to it.
Okay, so let's do that. All right, we'll do
whatever
that.
you want.
Pull it up. Let's start off. We'll start off with Alex's top 10, and then we'll go to
perfect.
Make sure I get the right one.
Looking forward to it. Yeah, get the right one, Bob, please. So Harris can see what true NBA analysis is.
So again, you guys are watching the Goon Squad. Juan and Neil have stepped off a little early. That's okay. we were going to do a top 10 with everybody. Everybody took their time and did their top 10 NBA players currently when healthy. But they stepped off early, so we'll come back. We'll start the show next week with this, and we'll touch on it and get their reactions. But since Alex and Harrison are here, I know Harrison's been really looking forward to this. I know Alex has as well. So we'll get on it. We'll do ours here, and we'll close the show out with this, and we'll come back. Again, if you haven't yet, hit that like and subscribe button. Excuse me. Put your comments below after the show about what you're thinking about this KD situation. Donovan Mitchell, are they comparable to Tyler Hero, him and Mitchell? What do you think about this whole debate? But let's start off, Harrison, with Alex's top 10 list. Top NBA players in the NBA when healthy. We're going to pop this in right now. All right, Alex, we want to go ahead and go over this list?
Jesus Christ. This guy's on crack. Take it serious. Take it serious.
All right, Alex, go ahead. I'm sorry, I hit the wrong one.
Okay.
Alex, my bad.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God. Thank God. All right, it's a little bit better.
A little bit better. Okay. Okay. This is
Still
plain and
pretty
simple.
bad.
Pretty bad, bro. Research some basketball. Go watch some YouTube games. When you're building a franchise, that's what I think. Top 10. I think about players that I will pick to start my franchise with, and then obviously if my first option is gone, second option, and this is my current list. Even LeBron's age, I gotta go number one. Giannis. Giannis is the only thing Giannis needs to develop, and he's working on it, is a consistent 3-point shot and efficiency shooting. That's it. You got Giannis, then you got LeBron, because no matter with age, he's like fine wine. He can still play at a high level for 2 to 3 years, managing his minutes. Luka, what can you say about Luka? Luka, I think with time, the only thing he would do, he will become more efficient as a shooter, and he's a flat-out baller. No matter – oh, yeah. Or defender, and that's also the team. Yes. And he's the worst on ball. He doesn't even play defense. Kawhi Leonard, you can argue Kawhi, when healthy, is the most complete player in the NBA. I don't see a deficiency in Kawhi's game. Kevin Durant, he's still healthy. Kevin Durant healthy is the best pure scorer I've ever seen, and he's an underrated defender. He's an underrated defender because people think and Chet Holmgren's going to get a lot of this too. They see his skinny frame and they think that he holds some muscle there. He can hold his ground. Joel Embiid, probably the most gifted center I've seen since Hakeem Olajuwon, and hopefully he continues to stay healthy. Ja Morant, the only thing with Ja Morant I'm afraid of is a Derrick Rose situation. When a player is that explosive,
What has he done? Why is he?
But this isn't about what has he done. It's what is he going to do? If I have to build my franchise around one of my top 10 players is Ja Morant. The only thing is
isn't the question. It's the best players in the league.
Yes.
Well, to me, the best players in the leagues are entitled to. If I'm building my franchise with, who are the 10 best players right now that I will go and start it off with? Nikola Jokic, same style as a Joel Embiid, a little bit slower, more of a finesse center. Great passer, probably the best passer I've seen in a long time. He reminds me a little, much better than Vlade Divac, but the court vision is the same. There's something about those European centers, which we got to keep also with our Jovic. Curry, best shooter ever. There is no range long enough for Curry, and Curry being on the court opens up so many lanes that you can't ignore him no matter what. And Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum is still climbing up. He's 24, and he's still developing, and he still doesn't have a weakness in his game. What I do see sometimes is late game situations, and you can attest to maybe the finals, the last maybe just worn out, tired out. But he is probably one of the most complete players right now in the NBA.
Okay. Harrison, I know you had plenty to say. What's your response to his list?
Well, if you can put it back up on the screen, I don't understand how you have Steph Curry under Luka. Steph Curry just proved he can lead a team. He's a MVP.
Mm-hmm.
The first unanimous MVP, just proved he can lead a team and won Finals MVP, and he's the greatest shooter of all time, an underrated playmaker, and you have him under Luka. Okay,
yeah.
Luka, who can't play a lick of defense, who hasn't done anything. You have him under Ja Morant. again, I get your point and your sentiment of, I'd rather start a franchise with the younger guys in Ja Morant and Jason Tatum. But that's not what we're asking. I think the question was, who is the best players in the league right now? And if you tell me Jason Tatum, Ja Morant, and Jason Tatum are above our guy and Jimmy Butler, who this playoffs was being mentioned with a playoff run as Michael Jordan.
Compared to,
Yeah.
You left him off the list under Jason Tatum
can you
and
take
Ja
off the screen
Morant.
so I can see his face?
I just don't understand this. This is
okay.
This,
I'll
this
explain
is
it to you. Well, Jimmy Butler was number 12 or 13 for me. Once again, this is an opinion when healthy. Okay. Are you okay? You all right, Harrison? Okay, we'll wait. It's okay. We'll wait. He's back. Okay. You can ask probably every GM in the league. Every GM in the league. To you, honest opinion. I know Curry just won a championship. Is Curry a better player than Luka Doncic?
Yes.
Yes.
What's Luka do best?
Right now. Right. Luka? Just ball out.
Best?
Ball out.
What's his best thing? Ball out. What's his best thing? Does he do anything better than Steph shoots the ball? Steph's a Finals MVP. Just won Finals MVP.
Okay, but you're just mentioning now. I understand Finals MVP. Steph is the best shooter ever, all time. Living, dead, he's the best shooter of all time. Luka, right now, Luka Doncic is a better overall player than Steph.
Who's
Could rebound better? Well, you can compare. Okay, defensively, Steph Curry is much better than Luka. But I'm talking about all-around player. I'm not just talking about Luka can rebound, Luka can pass, Luka can shoot. He can take over a game. He can dominate a game. Steph does it with his shooting. Luka does it mid-range layups. He breaks down your whole defense. I just think he's a more complete player. Huh?
Does he win games?
Did Steph win games when he didn't have another roster around him? A good roster around him?
You can now bring in roster. And Steph's been winning games ever since he switched his coach.
Ever since he switched his coach?
Steph had the same team. As soon as they switched the coach, they won the championship.
Okay. That's offensive philosophy, offensive style, personnel. Look at the same team he's had. Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant. Now he has Andrew Wiggins. You can argue that even the third, fourth player in the Warriors is not even probably the second best player in the Mavs. So overall game, right now, if I have to pick between Luka Doncic and Steph Curry, I go with Doncic.
All right, so hold on. All right, Harrison, so you can continue your points here as you're discussing your list. I'm going to put your list on the screen, and you can go on and read that.
Take a look.
All right, here we go.
Take a look here.
Harrison's top 10 NBA players when healthy, in his opinion. Go ahead, Harrison.
Got it. All right, so I got Kevin Durant, number 1, when healthy. The last time we saw him 100% healthy, he was winning an NBA championship, and he overtook LeBron. He put the ball on the backboard, blocked them, won Finals MVP. And that's when he took over LeBron. LeBron drops the number 2. LeBron's still LeBron to me. He's still an all-time great. He's still the GOAT. But as of late, he hasn't been leading his team to the playoffs. LA's been a fail outside of that bubble year. We got Steph Curry, the greatest shooter of all time, proved again this year that he can do it on his own. Won a championship leading his team. 4 is Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's a 2-time MVP. He does everything great. He's the best big man in basketball. He just can't shoot. He can try to develop it all he wants. If it wasn't what he does, great, but he's good regardless. He could be the best player in the league eventually, or he could just take the spot right now. If you wanted to bump him to number 1, I wouldn't argue with Giannis being number 1. I just have him 4, more so namesake of the top 3 guys above him.
Namesake.
Yeah, you can argue that with me. I'll give you that. Like, I'm not big a fan of Giannis. But then we go to Nikolai. We go to Joker. We go to Joker. Joker's 5. Joker had the highest player efficiency rating this year at 32. That's an all-time great season. He's a back-to-back MVP. The only thing his guy hasn't done is won in the playoffs and led his team to a championship game. Outside of that, how you have Joel Embiid above him, I don't know. Joel Embiid's usually hurt. We're talking about when healthy. I can't deny Joel Embiid's talent, but even he hasn't put together an MVP season. He hasn't won. He's had better players than Joker's had actually, and hasn't won. So then we go to 6, Kawhi. I'm the biggest Kawhi fan. I'd put him number 1, but I'll be a realist on this list. He's the best defender in basketball when on the court, and he can get a bucket whenever he wants. I agree. He's probably the most complete player. I just can't put him. He's never won an MVP in the regular season, and I can't put him above Giannis, Antetokounmpo, and Joker. Anthony Davis, I put him at number 7. This guy, when although being a bubble, won a championship. Kevin Garnett said a bunch this past interview he had, and Anthony Davis could be the best player in the league if he just focused on basketball, stayed healthy, and did what he had to do. Jimmy Butler, a guy who's not even on your list. You can't call yourself a Heat lifer. He's lost that title since he's left Jimmy Butler off the list. A guy who was being mentioned with Michael Jordan this playoffs. A guy who's consistently led the Heat now to playoff runs and dropping 50 and leading a team. And you left him off the list to Ja Morant, who I can't deny is a great player. He's going to be a great player, but you also left him behind Jason Tatum. And Jimmy Butler outplayed Jason Tatum, in my opinion. Jason Tatum just had a deeper, healthier team. So to leave Jason Tatum, put Jason Tatum above a Jimmy Butler is insane. Then Joel Embiid, number 9, obviously he's an elite big man, great defender, can shoot the ball, can move, can dribble, handle. Number 9, and then Luka, who again, Luka's a toss-up. Obviously, he can be a top 5 player. I just can't put him above Joker and Antetokounmpo, who are MVPs of this league, and one's a champion. Luka can't win, at least not right now. But eventually, Luka can take the number 2 spot, number 1 spot. Eventually, he's young, but he just hasn't done anything to move into that top 5 like you have him. Boom,
Alex?
Roasted.
Alex, response?
Okay. Let me analyze once again. You got Giannis number 4. So you mean to tell me, when healthy, Kevin, LeBron, and Steph are better than Giannis?
Kevin Durant's better than Giannis Antetokounmpo when healthy, son.
Offensively.
LeBron is again, like I said,
Giannis
can take number 1. You can put Giannis number 1 on the list. You can change my list, put him number 1. I'm not going to argue with you. But Steph Curry, after winning a championship, showed me he's great. He showed me he can do it. So,
but we already knew he was great. Like
he's won MVPs. He's won Finals MVP. He's won back-to-back MVPs in a regular season. He shoots the 3 like nothing. He's still doing it. He's still hot, and he had a way better season than Giannis. This is the top 5 is always going to move back and forth. LeBron is a guy who's slowly sliding down the list.
Oh, absolutely.
Because of age, father time. Steph Curry is going to slow down and probably drop down the list, but his game can stay consistent. Giannis, again, can move to number 1. But when healthy, Kevin Durant is the best player in basketball. He can shoot, he can drive,
overall.
He can score,
not
he can
overall.
defend.
You're just talking about offensively. You're just talking offensively.
No, I'm talking defensively. Defensively, he put LeBron's ball on the backboard.
Okay, that's
LeBron in the championship game. I don't care how many years ago. It's the last time he was healthy before tearing his ankle. When he came and played against Kawhi.
His Achilles, man. His Achilles
is part of his ankle. Stop with your fucking technicalities, okay? When he was playing against Kawhi, Kawhi has an asterisk on that championship, probably because KD got hurt. If KD was in that championship game in that series, could Kawhi win? We don't know. It's you can't prove
but
there's a bunch of things. There's a
bunch
of things.
That was like 3 years back. So, or how many years back? So I'm not worried about what.
What's the last time we saw KD healthy? It's the last time we saw him fully healthy.
Last year
was an anomaly.
An anomaly?
An anomaly.
You got caught, boy. Whoa. You used a big word. You got caught, boy.
When all else fails, dictionary.com, baby.
But like I said, Giannis can move to number 1. I'm not going to argue with you.
He could.
My biggest
and you
problem
can argue. What's the problem on my list?
My biggest problem is leaving Jimmy Butler off the list
Okay.
behind
Okay.
a guy like John Morant and
No, it's
Jason
no,
Tatum.
not. I won't. I'm not. You'll see my list now. But the Jason Tatum thing gets me because he didn't show up in the Eastern Conference Finals. It was Jaylen Brown. It was Marcus Smart. It was those other guys. He was an afterthought. They kept showing him and his kid, and that's the biggest highlight he had.
And Deuce.
And then in the finals, where the hell was he? He had his Kobe Bryant text. He texted Kobe Bryant.
Bro, that was just a show, man.
To me,
yeah, but you see, that's all.
But he's not top 10 in my opinion. He's not even there. He doesn't even touch it. So that's my biggest complaint about the list when it comes to your list, because you can move guys around based on your pitch. Luka's better than Steph and whatever, and that's all right. Whatever, I disagree with that. I think Steph is up there because it's Steph Curry. But when it comes to not John Morant, Jason Tatum, there's no way he's better and as all around player as Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler shows up. The only reason why Tatum was in the finals or in the Eastern Conference Finals was his team. That's it. So I that's the only thing when I look at that list and I'm going, why the hell is Jason Tatum up there? Like,
just want me to tell you why? Want me to tell you? The only thing was shooting. The other list was a real list.
Put the other list back up.
Hey, next time when Juan comes up, just put up that list. Start with me and put up that list. I just want to see his face when he sees Omer and Tyler Hero. I just want to see the reaction.
Jump back on the show after seeing that.
Yeah.
It was fun, man. It was fun doing the list.
Fucking thing.
Hey, but Harrison, I'll tell you, what's funny? I told Bobby I did a top 20. Jimmy was number 12 for me. And Bam, Bam is top 25. I got him like a 19 or 20. I forgot. I did
a top 25 too. Yeah, I did a top 25.
All right,
yeah.
Let's
go. Let's see.
I had John Morant way below the list.
Say what? You want to see what?
I want to see your list. Let's go.
You want to see my list?
Get ready. Get ready. Let's go. Harrison, you ready? Let's go. Let's make some fun.
I'm ready to shit on this list.
Let's go.
You ain't shit on nothing, boy.
Yeah.
Bam! What? Right there. Bam! Tough acting Tanaka. Here we go.
This is a better list than yours, let me tell you.
You're damn right.
Oh, here we go. Kiss ass. Kiss ass.
Oh,
kiss ass, bro. Kiss ass, man.
Okay.
He ain't having any more kids. He ain't having any more kids with Harrison. That's it.
I love this guy, but Jesus Christ.
Giannis, of course, Giannis is going to be number one. Best player in the NBA. He's always healthy, always reliable, working on his shot. Two-time MVP. There's no debate. There's no question. Nobody touches him. Probably LeBron, who's number two. LeBron is LeBron. Still at his old age, is still probably right there at 1A. But 1B. So LeBron James is number two. KD, absolutely one of the top three players in the NBA when healthy, whenever that is healthy. Offensively, the greatest next to Steph Curry, who's number 4 on my list. Nikola Jokic, who I think gets a little disrespected, is top 5 in my opinion. 2-time MVP consecutive like Giannis. He's up there. Kawhi Leonard, when healthy, whenever that is. Best defensive player in the NBA. Led a team that, like Giannis, with no other superstar to an NBA championship for a 1-year rental. Luka Doncic is getting there. He's not there. He hasn't fully developed. Yeah, he had a good series against, epic series against Booker, but he still has a lot of growing to do. I agree with Harrison on that, but he's 7th on my list. Joel Embiid, I have number 8. When healthy, obviously, and again, health is a big thing here. But when healthy, he is one of the league MVP candidates year in, year out. But again, like James Harden before him, he's had Ben Simmons, he's had Harden, he's had the other guys, and he hasn't done anything. So he's 8th on my list. John Morant, you could say whatever you want. This is a young gun, but this guy is definitely top 10 in the short time he's been in the NBA. What he has done on his team with that squad, what he continues to develop to be. Alex is worried about the Derrick Rose thing. I'm not. This guy is definitely top 10, performs top 10, and next year there will be no debate that he's a top 10 player in the NBA. And then how the hell can you leave Jimmy Butler off your list? This ain't about being a Miami Heat fan. This is about being an NBA fan. If you watched him, how many years ago? Yes, he got beat down because he's the only damn player last year by the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm talking about the season before. But in the bubble, everyone wants to talk about, the Heat in the bubble, what they did in the bubble. It's the bubble. But then you got to take LeBron's championship and put an asterisk next to it. But Jimmy Butler was the only player in the NBA Finals because Goran Dragic couldn't be healthy. Nobody else was doing a damn thing. The guy almost killed himself playing every minute of every game. And that's what killed us during the Eastern Conference Finals this season. He played every minute of the final game to try to win an NBA championship. What gets him on the top 10 list? Not only what he does offensively, which he's gotten better, but defensively. And the biggest thing there is heart. How you could put a nobody in that top 15 player like a Jason Tatum in the top 10 over Jimmy.
A nobody?
I'll never understand. He does not even touch.
Yeah, his player efficiency rating.
He's overrated. He's overrated. Yeah. I'm sorry. Jason Tatum is overrated. He doesn't have heart. He doesn't show up. He's a very good player. That's about it. But he doesn't touch Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is top 10, and he's there. I think Harrison said this earlier to me. I don't think he said it during the show, but yeah, he probably won't get up higher up there, but he's definitely there based off what he's done the last few years. How you can keep him on the list and call yourself an NBA fan or NBA knowledge, basketball knowledge, I'll never know. But that's where you failed on that one. But here's my top 10 list. I think it's sexy as hell. I'd take it out to dinner and a special night. But I'll tell you right now, that's my top 10 list. Come at me, boys. You can't argue that. Go for it.
No, I don't. I don't have any argument.
I got a massive argument.
Pretty,
how is Luka Doncic 7? You think Nikola is better than Luka Doncic?
Yeah, he's a two-time MVP with a higher player efficiency rating. All-time great. It's not even close.
2 this season and the season. How can you even say that? Like, honestly,
what's your
how
back?
can you say
outside of he balls out? What else you got there?
What has he won? What has he won?
MVP.
Because
MVP twice.
MVP.
What has Luka won?
What has his team?
What has Luka done? What has Luka
won?
What has his team won? But that's my point. He was voted MVP, right?
Yeah.
You can argue. You can argue.
Yeah.
Luka. Well, like I know it's just numbers.
It's twice. It's 2. 1 plus 1 is 2.
1 plus 1 is 2.
Just get the fuck out. I'm tired, damn it. I worked all day and I'm running 3 podcasts. You know what I mean?
I'm launching rockets.
I'm just I like your list. I just think Luka's way too low. Have you guys analyzed? Have you
10.
Okay, Harrison, you like stats also, right? Pull up just Google.
Too low.
Just Google Luka Doncic stats. Just Google
Luka's
that.
better.
Look at his points per game.
Luka be on my list?
Look at his rebounds. Luka probably 4.
Coño. No, I don't
4.
know. He's not better than Steph Curry.
4.
He's not better
overall
than
right now. Overall right now, he is.
I could put him number 6 if you want me to move it. I put him to 6.
No, because I can
put him 6.
I don't know, man. Bob, Luka
player
right now
efficiency rating is 25.13.
He might grow into that.
It's
He
ranked
hasn't done it.
7th in the league.
Okay.
His player efficiency rating is ranked 7th.
Yeah, but
in
remember,
the league
player efficiency
behind Joel Embiid and Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid, LeBron James, Joker, Kevin Durant, Trae Young ranks above him.
Yes, but now, one thing with Luka. Player efficiency is how efficient you are. I understand that. Look at the usage rate. On-ball usage rate. Luka's probably number 1 in the league.
He is.
Your efficiency is going to go down when you're the number 1 usage rated player.
But Alex, he's a top 3 player in the NBA. He's the top
Luka
3 player.
I would say so. Absolutely.
Over Durant. Over Jokic of 2-time MVP.
Well, let's say top 5.
Who do you move up? You put 3 Leonard?
I got Kawhi definitely top 5. I got LeBron and Giannis. I got Luka when healthy. We're talking about when healthy.
Yeah.
My other 5th one is probably Durant or Curry or Jokic. Yeah, you got Giannis, you got LeBron.
You're doubting
Luka
your list
for
right
sure.
now, aren't you?
I'm going Giannis, LeBron, Luka, Kawhi, and Jokic.
Usage rate.
Luka, right?
Yeah.
That's why one thing with efficiency, I love it. Trust me, I understand. And the Heat are the kings of efficiency. We make players more efficient. I think that's one word that people don't use a lot. But with Luka, what Luka's asked to do for Dallas, no other player in the league, except maybe LeBron, the last few years with the Lakers, when they've been completely annihilated, when Westbrook hasn't done anything, what he's asked to do with Dallas is insane, man. And just overall, he's a better rebounder. He has at least, I haven't even checked the stats, honestly, but it's like 6-7 assists or even more. he probably averages close to a triple-double.
No, he can get it, but he's a really bad defender, Alex. And you said he's a better rebounder than Joker? You just said that out loud?
No. I didn't say he's a better rebounder than Joker. I'm saying he's a good rebounder.
Okay. That's impressive.
I didn't say he's a better rebounder than Joker.
Is Russell Westbrook
Dude,
a top 5 player? Like
you know what's
when he was winning MVP? Or was he stat stuffing because his usage rate was so high?
No. At that time, Russell Westbrook was top 5 for sure. Like you're talking about Russell Westbrook he averaged a triple-double, I think 2 or 3 seasons in a row, right?
Stat stuffed. His usage rate was like, I'd admit Luka's a better player than Russell Westbrook even then.
Oh yeah, you can say that.
In their primes. Is you're saying? Are you saying in their primes?
Yeah, I think. I like Russ, but he's just because he's a fun player to like. But like his MVP seasons were stat stuff. It's just he only got them because he averaged a triple-double. I think Luka's a better player than him. And
yeah, but you say,
Luka.
Absolutely, Luka's a much better shooter, much better clutch. That's another thing. Luka's clutch.
But like. Russ isn't considered a better rebounder than a lot of people. Just
let me ask this.
No, he's more athletic. His athleticism makes up for it.
He catches it off the drop, whatever.
Hold it.
Yeah.
Let me ask this because you said Jimmy Butler was what 13 on your list.
Jimmy was 12.
All right, who's 11?
11. I had Anthony Davis.
I had Davis above Jimmy, but you're talking about when healthy.
When healthy, yeah, I'm talking about when healthy.
But when
I
healthy,
love
you put
Jimmy
Jason
Butler.
Tatum. But you put Jason Tatum above Anthony Davis too. When healthy,
yeah, because he's a better shooter. Jason Tatum plays decent defense, and he's a better shooter. That's the only reason he's on top.
Anthony Davis, they're different positions.
Listen,
no. We're talking about Jimmy. I'm talking about Jimmy.
From in New Orleans, but I think it's crazy. I even win health right now. The way the league is to put him in top 10. I think 11 is fair. I think 11 is fair for Anthony Davis right now.
Yeah, I had Anthony Davis.
Top
I had
15
Jimmy.
for
Trust
sure,
me,
but not top 10.
Trust me, man. I wanted Jimmy there, but Jimmy. You see now, Jimmy, playoff time is a different player, completely different player. Overall,
but that counts. That's when it counts.
Oh no, absolutely. But I'm talking about overall game. When I say about best player in the NBA, I'm talking about overall game. And Jimmy's defense propels him over a lot of players that are offensively gifted. Because he's a better overall player. And another thing that's underrated with Jimmy is the playmaking. Jimmy's a very underrated playmaker. And people didn't realize that until he got to Miami. People talked about what happened?
Guys, you guys are shitting on Anthony Davis. The all-time
Anthony
NBA
Davis. I said
player
11.
efficiency rating. All-time
Anthony
NBA
Davis is number
player
1.
efficiency rating. It's Michael Jordan. It's LeBron James. It's Joker. And then it's Anthony Davis, number 4.
Yeah.
All time.
Absolutely. I haven't shit on him. I told you he's 11 for me.
But he's better than Jason Tatum.
Okay, you can make that argument. I'll switch it for you, bro. Yeah, I can switch it for you.
But
as long as Jason Tatum's off the list, so I can pretend that you have Jimmy Butler above him too.
Bobby, can you do me a favor? Can you send Harrison an updated list of mine? And just put like a little X over Tatum and put Butler.
Maybe do that shit 3 times. Maybe redo that 3 list twice. Move Tyler up a little bit. Move him down.
Good list though, Bob. You had a good list though, Bob.
Yeah, I gotta get you had a good list. Good list.
I did. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. God bless.
I can't. And you changed my mind on John Morant. He's so fucking good. I'm kicking Luka off my list at number 10 and putting John Morant number.
You know who you should kick out? Anthony Davis, bum ass. Don't touch a basketball in the offseason.
No, we're not talking about their personality here. We're talking about their talent and how good.
It's true though. It's true though. It's true though. It's true.
It's true. It's very true.
It's true though.
Bobby's got
Bob, any more sound effects?
Quality, yeah.
No.
Let's do some more sound effects.
You look at my face, boy. All right, no, we're gonna end this. We'll continue this conversation after the show. Hey, everybody, thank you for watching the Goon Squad. If you like and subscribe, if you haven't already, follow us on the Finns Talk Network. We'll see you guys next Wednesday. We'll get Juan and Neil's top 10. We'll see you guys next time. And let's hope something happens.